I'm popping pain pills like they Skittles.
If you're heavy, basically your knee arthritis is going to get worse a lot faster than if you're not heavy.
When you're born, you've got this beautiful, nice, thick cartilage that covers each one of the bones. As it tends to wear, it starts to blister, get inflamed, wear out. And as it does this, it ends up going away completely, and you get what's called bone on bone. So you hear people talk about, I got bone on bone. They'll come into the office and say, Doc told me I got bone on bone.
Excruciating pain.
And it can be a very excruciating pain.
Getting out of the bed is problematic. I mean, you roll. You don't just get up, you roll.
The patient already knows that they're overweight. Sometimes the doctor doesn't say you're overweight. It just kind of, it's like the elephant in the room, but nobody addresses it.
I'm actually quite frank with my patients. I think it's probably a little easier for me. I've battled my own weight in my own life, so I'm just very frank with them.
When you need help to get up out of a chair, when you can't bend over and tie your shoes, especially when you're young.
Arthritis and osteoarthritis specifically contributes to up to $13 billion in job-related losses in the United States.
So who is listening? Certain populations are missing the message, remaining sedentary, unhealthy, and in most need of a change. Come travel with us as we unravel the complexity of the vicious cycle that traps women and minority populations at an alarming rate, creating musculoskeletal disparities that persist and are getting worse. Author, patient advocate, and award-winning journalist Bruce Johnson will help us investigate and unravel the lives of the invisible people trapped by limited mobility and joint pain, with the goal of identifying and impacting the impediments to a more healthy life.
I gained up to 325 pounds. I was eating all the time, constantly. And then I wasn't paying attention to what I was eating. I wanted to attend my daughter's graduation, her high school graduation. And I was so proud of her. Top of her class, she was a valedictorian. She was a runner-up for the Gates Millennium. She was getting a scholarship. They had wanted her to, it was a dinner that she was to attend. And she could bring, someone with her. She really wanted me to be there. Excuse me. But I couldn't make it. But because of my weight, I felt, what am I going to wear? Or when I get there, will I be able to sit, with everybody else? So I missed that. The mayor was there. My sister went in my place. My daughter now, she's a sophomore in college. I want to be there when she graduates.
When you will be.
Not in this chair.
So my mom died in October, and my weight was at 260 and increasing. Food had become my comforter, my friend, my be-all, but the end result of that was that I found myself in this endless cycle where my weight continued to balloon and I couldn't see my way out. Afterwards, I knew that I had to do something.
7 years ago, I was weighing 267 pounds, and I started with pain, a lot of pain in my knees and in my hips. I need somebody to put my socks, to do my bed.
And what was your doctor telling you about your weight and your
pain? Well, she was telling me that if I lose some kind of weight, my pain in the knee gonna relieve a little bit.
And what did you say to the doctor?
I say to the doctor, I have been so hard-headed, and I don't do exercise. I don't listen to her, and she say to look for another doctor.
I'm known as a jazz supper club with a flair of fried chicken, fried catfish, things of that nature. But we also do grilled food, we do blackened food, and we do broiled food. So we do give that option.
What if you took all the fried food off the menu? What would that do to your business?
I think 50% would not come in anymore. And I'd probably be really trying to bring it back so I can stay in business.
You can go back to the fried food.
I would have to. People are changing, and I would have to say primarily females. A lot of females order a lot of broiled food, grilled food. They're much more, I would say, health conscious than the male.
What's wrong with the men?
I think we just kind of, I say we because I probably fall guilty of some of this too, but I think we're just so used to doing something, and change is just big and hard for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So what do the men order when they come in?
Main thing that they want is fried perch. Let me have the fried catfish. Let me have the French fries, garlic mashed potatoes. So they eat a lot of the more so heavy foods, but the traditional foods that they were possibly raised on. I think we do have some people that can and will change, but I think it's just repetition. It's what we seen as when we were brought into this world. And I think it's just so hard until a crisis hits you or hits a family member. And it's like, wow, Uncle Jimmy had a heart attack. Uncle Jimmy has diabetes. And then it kind of brings you into full circle of, well, what can I do? Or that new granddaughter that comes into your life.
All right, guys, it's showtime. We're getting pretty busy out here tonight.
Men are tough. I'm tough. I probably, being married to a doctor, don't go to the doctor like I should. And though she's not my doctor. But does she ride me a lot about it? Yes, she does. And I'm very guilty of it.
What about your diet?
My diet is pretty good. I try to eat a lot more healthier. And again, from the household, it's what my wife brings into the house. So I'm kind of forced in a sense. If she's cooking, she's going to broil something, grill something outside, opposed to just frying it. Now, when I'm at work, of course, I cheat. It's easy for me to come in here.
And you're the boss.
And I'm the boss. So it's easy for me to come in and fry something and have it. But I am a little more cautious the older that I'm getting.
You're in the Fairfax community of Cleveland, 99% African American, probably lower to mid socioeconomic status. A lot of the grocery stores in this neighborhood, you can't go there and get fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. Okay? In this neighborhood, matter of fact, 2 blocks down is what I call fast food row. You can hit every fast food that you could possibly think of is 2 blocks down. Now, is something wrong with that? Not necessarily, because there's healthy choices at the fast food restaurants. But they cost a lot more than when you want to get that $5 holler. When you can get 2 Big Macs, fries, and a supersized drink for $5 and a healthy salad costs $8. We'll do the math. If you're on a fixed income, you might go for the $5 holler and not pick the healthy choice. Looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah, got some good numbers today. Okay. All right. As medical director of the University Hospital's Otis Moss Health Center, I see it firsthand. I feel like I'm down in the trenches. See you next go round. Okay. Okay.
I actually physically maintain, repair the tracks for the railroad, as in install ties, rail, operate heavy equipment.
You're out there with the men.
There with the men.
How heavy is this equipment?
Some of it is pretty heavy. A sledgehammer can range for anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds, and you have to swing that over your shoulder.
And you've been doing this how many years?
About 20 years.
You were the first woman?
First woman hired into this department. They solicited me. They wanted women to be coming to the apartment, and I was the first one.
Tell me about your knees.
My knees, they hurt. Arthritic. My back is riddled with arthritis, in part because of the nature of my job, and in part because of the gain of weight.
You tell me you've always had some weight, but your weight really got out of control when?
Shortly after I had my son. But I'd say definitely in the last 2 years, it's really come on like gangbusters. This is the heaviest I've been in my entire life.
What happened to you?
And I'm not liking it. I lost my mother. I lost my mother after a long illness, and trying to juggle taking care of her, working, taking care of my child. The bad eating habits I had escalated to worse, and fast food, very rarely cooking, because I did what was expedient, what helped get it done and serve the purpose rather than planning out a good meal. And consequently, I gained a lot of weight.
Right. What's that done to your knee problem?
Made it worse.
Right.
It hasn't helped it, and other problems have arisen besides the knee problem. I have swelling on my feet, because when you gain weight, that pressure on your frame, as the doctor has explained to me, it's no good thing.
So, how much do you weigh? What's the most you weigh?
Wow, do I have to reveal that? Don't you know it's not nice to ask a woman her age or her weight? 272 pounds, and I'm only 5'1". So do the math or do the BMI. Well, I don't think anybody that's overweight is truly happy. It's very problematic. You find that there are things that you thought you were able to do before, they become a chore to do now. Getting out of the bed is problematic. I mean, you roll. You don't just get up. You roll. Attending to your hygiene is problematic. Going to the bathroom is problematic. Because as you widen, your arms don't get any longer. You understand where I'm coming from? But I can't see myself living out the rest of my life like that, struggling, when I can do something about it. So I'm committed to losing the weight. I have a son to raise, and that's another factor. Right now, I have physical ailments. God forbid I get something like heart ailments or blood pressure or, that kind of thing. I have to be here to raise my child.
You are always trying to find ways in which you can make life better for your people, whether it is through justice advocacy, systems that are wrong, that keep people down, or whether it's because of diets that are culturally passed on, that create inferior health. We have a whole segment of our congregation that is sick and shut in. And we try to find ways to mobilize them to bring them to church. We send ambulances, we send buses, we send cars. They can't get here because of arthritis. Immobile. And if they come with assistance. Our church used to have fried chicken and all that stuff all the time. And they finally leveraged on me. And consequently, today, the menu here at the church is radically different than what it used to be. So the fried chicken is gone. Now they have baked chicken and they have this other kind of chicken that they have.
And this is because of what?
Because of the health ministry, because of educating the congregation to how this is effective. We have a lot of doctors who are members of this church, and they've raised the level of understanding of how health impacts their lives and how we've got to, how we can fight back.
Now hold your hands over your head, and now try to reach back.
We don't have to just tolerate having the highest diabetes, the highest obesity. Black people have the worst quality of life of any people in America. Whatever you talk about in America, and you go to quality of life, we're at the bottom.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and in some ways, we just talked about orthopedic issues, broken bones and arthritis, but we now talk about obesity. Heavier people have higher rates of arthritis.
What have you done in physical therapy?
Well, we've walked around the area here, back and forth.
Help us understand, what comes first, the obesity or the arthritis?
Well, that's unknown. So is it immobility that leads to obesity? and obesity that leads to arthritis, or is it arthritis that leads to immobility and leads to lack of movement around, taking in the same number of calories, and getting obese? The problem with this vicious cycle of obesity is that it's associated with other problems. Higher incidence of stroke, they have higher rates of complication, wound drainage. I talked to them about rates of infection or blood clots, which can even be life-threatening.
We don't like dancing. We love dancing. And it was one of the things that attracted us to one another.
My arthritis got so bad that even the thought of dancing was painful.
Slowly, we stopped dancing. We'd listen to music. Then we even began to stop accepting invitations to go out with our friends dancing, because they would dance and we would have to sit at the table, which was quite a challenge when you're used to moving around. And he's a very good dancer, I will say.
It was a little taxing of our relationship, because even if I wanted to do things for her, I just had my limitation.
And exactly what did you have done?
Oh, a knee replacement, a complete knee replacement.
And how's the relationship now?
Oh, he serves me my café con leche. I sit. I'm hungry, dear. There it is. It's wonderful.
This pride that we have as men, we want to tough it out, to have the pain until I can deal with it. But the truth of the matter is that the doctor knows better than me.
The doctor knows better than we do, and your woman knows better.
Definitely. Definitely.
Operation Change is the name of the program, and the whole crux of it is movement is life. We are trying to get women moving.
We all are overweight, or we are with diabetes, with blood pressure, and then we support each other.
I can go down, but I cannot get up. I need help for this.
Most of the women are at the contemplation stage, meaning that they realize that there's a need for a change, and they're there, they've contemplated, and they said, okay, I'm ready to take some action.
Nobody judges you, and you make like, oh my, nobody judges you. Even though we go, can we help you? Just sit down.
Hit it! Hit it! Good job!
We start working, just working. Then we start doing exercising, we start dancing, we do Zumba, we do kickbox. The result has been that my pain has getting better, like 85%, I can tell. Now I can do many things that I can do before.
You joke that your sex life with your husband is...
Yeah, that's exactly. The sex life is a plus.
So health literacy is going to focus on us.
Typically on a Saturday, we have presentations from different types of speakers. So we bring in clinicians, we bring in nutritionists, registered dietitians.
I can tell you that I've substituted the healthy eating for all of the fast food, the cakes, the cookies. And not to say that I'll never, ever have that again, but I'm not coming home every night and eating a whole cake.
That is...
We educate them about certain topics that are important to getting people moving. Then we have an exercise hour, and then we have focus group.
I'm sure all of us have individual experiences.
So mental health is one.
This issue of depression is something we've got to be able to talk, or people will die. It's that serious.
Some people don't understand, doctor. What is depression?
Okay, depression is a biological, psychosocial disorder that's characterized by feelings of profound sadness, loss of interest in activities that previously people were into. It could include things like increase in appetite or decrease in appetite, difficulty with concentration.
That is a huge barrier. Depression, anxiety, those are huge barriers to moving. If you cannot even get dressed, want to get dressed, and get out of your house, how are you going to think about going to exercise?
I went from 325, I weighed to about 245, 248 now.
Amazing. In what, a year?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Through exercise and eating right.
Black folks don't like talking about their problems. They'd rather go to church, and church is not that's not something that's negative, but when it's outside of what the pastor can handle, we really need to seek professional help. And I think that oftentimes, because of lack of access, people won't go to therapy.
Some of the depression just stemmed from, just pure mental health issues, but some of it was stress-induced. Stress from maybe a grandchild being in trouble in the prison system, children being on drugs. So just life issues that creates this depression.
Before we even get to health, we start with literacy.
They quietly invited all of us to dig deep and address the why behind the patterns of why we were eating the way we were. And this was very confronting.
What is your goal? Weekly goal.
Ya me quería morir.
She felt that she wants to die. She wanted to die.
350 libras.
She said that she got to 350 pounds.
No más mi doctora de la diabetes.
Her doctor who takes care of her diabetes told her that she had to lose weight because, the problem that she had with her knees is because of the weight that she had. ¿Más de cuánto?
Más de 100 libras.
She had lost more than 100 pounds.
She's lost more than 100 pounds. Congratulations.
Felicidades.
The doctors give them the knowledge, but what we have found is even though they get the knowledge, the doctors are not helping them translate that knowledge to their life.
How do we get people to sustain change in what they're eating and exercising? That's something that within the confines of a medical visit, which is usually about 15 minutes, we many times don't have the time.
One way I try to reach people, my patients, because they're typically adults, is I say, what you're eating, your kids are eating. How you eat in your house is how your kids are eating. And do you want your child to look like you when they're as old as you are?
Without this program, there still has to be some self-efficacy, some self-motivation. You continue to work with that buddy because when the program's gone, it's gone. And so you have to still work with that support system that you've created amongst the other participants in the study to keep yourself moving.
Exercising is so important. It's important for the health of your joints. It's important to help you keep your weight off so that you don't develop all those other medical problems. And that's really why we believe movement is life.